Hello, my name is Vera Toepoel and I work at the Department of Methods and Statistics at Utrecht University in the Netherlands. And today I'm going to present results of a pilot study that we have conducted about the use of professional accelerometers to monitor health in the general population. I'm going to share my slides with you now. Most countries have a general monitor surveillance system to measure public health in the general population and adapt policy accordingly. Most countries use subjective measures to measure physical activity by the use of surveys, questionnaires, and of course, they suffer from memory effects. People might not recollect how much they have been exercising in the last day or the last week. And also these subjective measures are prone to social desirable responding. People think they exercise a lot, well, in fact, they don't. So with the use of modern technology, why not use professional sensor systems? So in this project, we investigate the feasibility of using professional accelerometers in monitoring systems of the general population. This is a joint project with the National Institute for Public Health and the Environment. They take part in a big project in Europe, which is called the Erasmus project. They work together with Statistics Netherlands. So the general monitoring system in the Netherlands is called the Lifestyle Monitor. And the fieldwork for that monitor is being done by Statistics Netherlands. So they draw an independent probability sample for the National Institute for Public Health and the Environment, and they collect the data. Me and my colleague Peter Luchtig have a formal collaboration with Statistics Netherlands, so we work together in this project. So what have we done? We have used a professional accelerometer, which is called the UKK, and this device is worn on the hip, but it can also be worn on the wrist. So typically people wear the accelerometer on the hip during the day and on the wrist during the night. It's like a square box which can be placed in an elastic band. The main question was, is a large-scale objective via professional accelerometers feasible in the general population? So the main question is, will people participate? And in order to investigate if they do or not, or how we can increase response rate, we have done a couple of experiments. So we experimented with the position. So as I mentioned, typically this accelerometer is worn on the hip and on the wrist during the night. But in previous research, some respondents have suggested that they would prefer to wear the accelerometer on their wrist. So we experimented with the position, either on the hip during the day and on the wrist during the night, or 24/7 on the wrist. We have experimented with the mode. So we have used the online mode in which people received a letter and they could participate in the survey online. But we have also used a small subset in which we invite people to come to our research center and have some face-to-face instruction and an interview to administer the health survey. And we also experimented with incentives. And then, of course, we want to know what kind of people would participate, what are the reasons if people refuse to participate, and what would it take for people to convince them to participate in the survey. And of course, also some data quality issues. How does the questionnaire compare to the accelerometer data? So we asked people to complete a survey, a health survey, and once they have completed the survey, we asked them if they would be willing to wear the professional UKK accelerometer for a week. And then we did 3 sub-studies in which Statistics Netherlands randomly draw 3 samples. One, the largest sample, was the main study in which people wore the accelerometer on the hip during the day and on the wrist during the night. Then we had a smaller subsample in which we asked people to only wear the accelerometer on their wrist, which we expect would be more convenient to them. And in a small subgroup, we invited them to come to our research center. We did a survey face-to-face via an interview, and we gave face-to-face instructions. So the first two groups, the online groups, received an instruction via a video. So they received a letter, and they got some URLs where they could go to get their instruction. And the third group, the interview HIP group, came to our research center twice. So first they came to the research center. We administered the survey face-to-face. They got face-to-face instructions about wearing the accelerometer. They were also shown the video about wearing the accelerometer. They go back to their house, wear the accelerometer for a week, and after a week they come back, hand in the accelerometer, and have some follow-up questions. And of course, the online groups had to return the accelerometer via regular mail. This is the response rate. So let me talk you through this flow chart. So this is the flow chart of the main study, the online HIP study. The total number of people that was invited was about 8,000. And when you look at the gray part, you see the number of people that completed the survey, completed the questionnaire was 12.8. So that's not a very high number, of course. The majority of the people did not respond at all to the invitation, 60%, and then we had some very nice people that would at least be willing to send us a call or an email or a reply card back that they would not be willing to participate. Then we asked people if they want to wear the accelerometer. Some people didn't want to wear it or said they could not wear it at this moment. People that received the meter was 12.6%. Then we had a couple of people that did not send the meter back, which is of course also an issue if you send out professional accelerometers that cost a lot of money, and some people do not return the meter. So in the end, some people did send the meter back but did not wear it. Some people broke their meter. So in the end, we ended up with a 10.7 response rate in our main study. These are the response rates for the 3 sub-studies. So unfortunately, the online wrist study did not show a higher number of participants. So apparently wearing the accelerometer only on the wrist does not increase response rates. And also coming to the research center did not improve response rate, actually lowered response rate because people thought it was too much of a hassle to come to the research center twice. So no higher response rate for wrist and no higher response rate for the face-to-face interview. Then these are the results of the experiment we conducted with the incentives. So we had 6 different groups. So the National Institute for Public Health tends to work with a tinteling voucher of 10 euros, which is a voucher that we don't typically use in the Netherlands. So that's why we experimented with a bol.com voucher, which is more frequently used in the Netherlands. And you see that the non-response rate decreases when we use a voucher that is more commonly used, which is great. If we would increase the incentive, so these are all conditional incentives paid at the end when they have completed and sent back the accelerometer. So if we would increase the amount of the voucher to 20 euros, again, non-response decreases. 40 euros, then we have the highest response rate. So we have a response rate of about 18% if we would send people a voucher of 40 euros. Then we use 5 euros unconditional in advance and 10 euros conditionally after the fieldwork periods. The results are comparable to sending out a 20 euro voucher at the end of the survey, which in the end is probably cheaper. And the last one, we used again a 10 euro incentive, but then we did not give people feedback. So the Accelerometer can give you a flowchart of what you have done in the past week. So we send that in all other conditions, but not in the last condition. And then you see that the non-response rate is high. However, I must also mention that this last batch was done during the summer, so this could also affect non-response rates if people are on holiday. Then non-response bias. So we see some differences when it comes to gender and age. We see a higher non-response rate for men and also for people 65 years and older. The top 3 reasons why people did not want to participate. I do not want to wear an accelerometer for 7 days. Almost half of the people mentioned that. I do not want to fill in a diary for 7 days, because people were also asked to complete a diary next to the accelerometer, because otherwise we cannot really tell if what type of sport, for example, people play. And third, I do not want to share my data for this research. Then we asked people, okay, so what can we do for you to participate? How can we convince you? And then 69% said, you can never ever convince me because I will never participate, which is of course a little bit sad. And then you have the regular reasons. And maybe another time, if I only have to complete a questionnaire, not wear the accelerometer, or if I would get a higher reward. So data quality was rather good. So we wanted to have a minimum of 4 days and 24 hours data for each day. And only the online risk was slightly lower. Maybe people had some bad experiences with the wristband moving, and they removed the wristbands, but in general the quality is high. Unfortunately, the people who came to the research center did not really show higher data quality than people who just did the entire study online, which might also be a good thing. So maybe it's not necessary to have people come to the research center and give them instructions. And then the difference between the subjective questionnaire and the objective accelerometer. So we more or less found what we have anticipated. So the number of minutes being active in average or high intensity was almost twice as high reported in the subjective questionnaire compared to the objective accelerometer. Sitting, the number of hours people sit during the day is also slightly higher. All these differences are significant. So people tend to sit a little bit less officially according to the accelerometer. So that might be an underestimation in the questionnaire, and or an overestimation, I would say. And then the number of hours sleeping per day is also significantly different. So apparently we sleep about an hour less according to the accelerometer than what we mention in the questionnaire, or what the general population mentions in the questionnaire. So then the discussion, we had low response rate, about 10%. Incentives helped, but not that much. The position did not really increase response rate, nor does coming to the research center. And 69% mentioned that they would never ever be willing to participate in accelerometer research, which of course gives us reasons to still wanting them to be convinced, finding ways to convince them. There were some gender and age differences, but they were small. We had high quality data for the majority of the people, and we did find significant differences between questionnaire and the accelerometer. So for the future, what do we want to do? So of course, we want to find ways to increase response rates. We want to find ways to convince people to participate in accelerometer type of research, because these objective measures are probably more likely to be valid measures than the questionnaire. And we also want to investigate the use of personal devices such as Fitbits, because maybe people want to wear them instead of these elastic waistbands. So that was it. It's almost time. My 15 minutes are over. Thank you so much for your attention, and I would like to see some questions. Bye.